Howdy.
I think it has a lot to do with basic etiquette in general. The only issue I have is when people ignore my boundaries. No should be enough.
Who will it be?
I would say listen to the music first. See if you even dig it. Can you feel it, right?
I wish more people knew when you're breathing, your faces are really close, so you don't want to be breathing into your partner's mouth because nobody wants to smell anyone else's breath. Being mindful of where you point your face.
Just knowing that if it's a very crowded dance floor, make yourself smaller.
We'll see you on the dance floor.
That whoever I dance with has the best time dancing with me. That's it.
Oh yeah, and I'll see you on the dance floor later. We'll get that middle school dance. Yeah.
You're listening to the Church of Honky Tonk, where the invitation to worship is, would you like to dance? And every dance is a prayer.
Today, we are in space together, in the same room.
Ba-ba-ba-ba!
In New Orleans. We are here for French Quarter Fest. We're here in a shared house with friends, most of them coming from the Chicago area.
What are we asking our friends about today, Sharon?
We're asking our friends, what is the single most important rule of etiquette for you on the dance floor? What is the one thing you think everybody needs to know if they're going to get out there and dance? And who are we going to start with? Akshay.
Hey.
Hey.
The single most rule I would say is that whoever I dance with has the best time dancing with me. That's it.
Are there one or two things that pop out to you that you do or you try to do to ensure that it's a really fun dance?
Yeah, there are a few things that I consider. One thing is the space, and second thing is who I'm dancing with. I take a few moments to understand how my body language is reacting with my dance partner, and based on that I can actually speed up or slow down, and that way I can act I can be on the floor and I can understand the space and the surrounding. Mm-hmm. Because then it's I'm totally carefree about everything else.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, what's up?
Hey. I would say at the start of a dance or a song, there's a tendency for people to kind of grab and go and just sort of launch out into the dance before they even listen to the music. So I would say listen to the music first. See if you even dig it. Can you feel it? Like last night, I asked somebody to dance and they said, yeah. And then maybe 30 seconds into the song, my partner was like, this is too slow. I'm not into it, or too fast. I can't remember what the tempo was. And I'm like, okay, then we'll do a different song or whatever. So she came back to me later in the night and we did a different song. But she said her friends were like, oh, you shouldn't have bailed on that song in the middle. And I'm like, no, you should totally feel like you can bail on the song in the middle or whenever if you're not feeling it. Even as me, it sucks to be dancing with somebody that's not into it. It's not good for either party. So you should be comfortable just be saying, all right, I don't want to do this anymore, and then pick another song. Yeah. So.
Okay, we are back here in New Orleans, Church of Honky Tonk, on location.
Somewhere outside the French Quarter in the city of New Orleans.
When we were recording our lead and follow episode, started talking about etiquette so much, we're like, oh, this is its own topic and a really important one.
Yes, so important and so vast that we have subdivided it into 3 different sections: etiquette on kindness, etiquette for safety, and etiquette for comfort. So let's dive right in, starting with etiquette on kindness. We're all sharing this space together. We all have to work together. And as we say in our intro, you have to ask someone to dance. So you can ask anyone and they can say yes or no. I like to ask what type of dances my partner does. A lot of times when you take a beginner lesson, they'll say to ask the person that you're dancing with, do you lead or follow? Especially for experienced dancers, you can kind of get into similar patterns of asking the same people to dance, asking your friends to dance, and that's totally fine, but it's not inviting newer dancers into the space. So it's very important for experienced dancers to ask newer dancers if they would like to dance. And if you are a newer dancer, don't be afraid to ask an experienced dancer.
Yeah.
You'll learn a lot from dancing with everybody, but if you are a newer dancer, you're especially going to learn a lot with someone that's more experienced.
Yeah. And I think that one can be tough for everybody because no one likes the feel like they might get rejected. I mean, I'm an experienced dancer who sometimes gets intimidated to ask excellent dancers still, and I have to like remind myself, I'm like, oh, practice what you preach here, go up and just ask them to dance.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, almost every single time it's fun, but I mean, or people usually say yes and it's a great time, but sometimes people might say no, and that's okay. Saying no is always okay. It is okay for anyone to say no at any time. Just like
Exactly.
actually Chris really put it beautifully, that, there may be a circumstance where the song doesn't feel right, something in the dance isn't feeling good to everybody. It is totally okay to leave the dance. But do remember that this section is kindness, so you don't need to give a reason for saying no,
Yeah.
but be kind when you decline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you are the person that is being told no, you should accept that with grace and just simply say, okay, thank you for your time, or and move on and ask someone else to dance.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I just yesterday I asked an older gentleman to dance, and he said, oh no, I only dance with my partner here, my spouse. And I said, oh, okay, well, thank you and enjoy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you had just said, thank you. And that's also another really big part of it, like thanking your partner for the dance. It leaves such a positive impression, a positive overall impression of the dance experience. The other thing that you can thank is the band and the
Yes.
bar.
Thank the band. Thank your bartender.
Yes.
Give them money.
Exactly. Yes.
It's the best thank you.
Right?
For that.
The best thank you. I mean, not only should you pay attention to the band, applaud them, but yes, give them money. And as dancers, I know I'm not a really big drinker. And we're going to kind of get into this a little bit later, but even though I don't really drink, it's still really important for dancers to support the bar. So if I'm not drinking, I might buy a soda, I might buy a bottle of water, any of that. And of course, always tip your bartender, tip the band. Basically, it is the bar that is supporting the music and supporting the dancers. So you really have to support the bar just as much as you would the band.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they're the reason the band is there playing for you. A lot of these shows I've found, certainly honky tonk shows, they're often no cover or low cover. So it's a pass the hat situation for the band, or maybe you pay a $5 cover or something pretty low. So it's good to support them beyond that within your means. And then, of course, supporting the bar and being sober friendly. Most places have more NA options than they used to, or just getting a water and tipping your bartender well on it.
Exactly.
Just showing support.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
or
sure.
buy your friends drinks.
Yeah, buy me around, Diana.
A note taken. Okay. Sharon, what should you do if someone is being kind of aggressive on the dance floor?
Yeah, so I I put this in the notes because I think it's important to just note it. This is, I have found, fortunately very rare, but it happens. You're in a public place and there may be somebody who behaves inappropriately. And just know, like, that venue, that bar, that space wants everybody to be safe. And so if somebody's behavior is inappropriate and they do not correct it, or they're being aggressive, or just these places have bouncers, they have managers who are there to make sure that anybody who is not behaving appropriately is invited to leave or ejected.
Yep.
So don't be shy about doing that. If you encounter somebody who is not respecting the space, and you.
Exactly.
Yep.
And etiquette is such a broad sense. A lot of what we're talking about holds true to most of the dance spaces, but as we've kind of touched on, each dance space is going to have its own sort of etiquette rules. Each dance is, its own subculture, even its own venue, kind of. It's going to vary from space to space, and it's kind of on the dancers to observe that and respect that. I think some dance spaces will have dancers that might just straight up tell you, hey, what you're doing's not cool here. And you just, again, with grace, say, oh, okay, thank you for letting me know. Yeah. A lot of, we might talk about this later too, but more organized dances even have etiquette guides, which can be really helpful. For example, we've talked, in each episode, I have talked about contra dance, and a lot of contra dance organizations have on their websites their own etiquette guides. The Chicago Barn Dance Association, they have a really great infographic poster. Because I'm DC based, there's a really great queer two-step group called the DC Rawhides. They also have a really cool infographic that kind of shows you the layout of the space when you're two-stepping, because two-step is in this kind of counterclockwise motion on the dance floor. Some people dance faster than others. So where to dance based on what speed you're going is all in that infographic.
Passing lanes.
Yep, exactly. Slower dancers in the middle, faster dancers on the outside, where the bar is, where you can stand and socialize.
Yeah.
It's all in there.
That's great. Yeah, and just like you say, each space is different. So, you walk into a new venue, it's good to kind of scope out what's happening, where people are standing, where people are dancing, how much space is allotted for dancing. If you're just standing, are you standing in the middle of where people are dancing? Maybe you want to take a couple steps back, just kind of feeling out the vibe. And it's part of the situational awareness that makes for good etiquette.
I don't know if this necessarily fits within the kindness part, but what I have sort of noticed based on observing the space, I think in a lot of spaces it's sort of, especially with live music, a lot of people assume oh, if there's live music, I can be as close to the band and watch. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I've been in a few spaces where people just want to stand as close to the band as possible. They're not dancing; they just want to be there, and it's kind of
Paul and I have talked about this at one particular venue in Chicagoland, which will go unnamed. It's a great venue, but to not cast any shade on anybody in particular, there is sometimes the crowd. There's a bit of a tension between people who want to stand directly in front of the stage and dancers wanting to dance. Yeah. Typically, the dance floor is right in front of the stage, and people are standing around the perimeter of the dance floor most commonly. Yeah. Not 100% of the time, but that's usually what you see.
Well, because it's not always a quote-unquote dance floor that we're dancing.
It's a floor we're dancing on, but
it's not a dance floor.
It's not a dance floor, right? Not a proper one, anyway.
This is a good segue into our next category of etiquette, which is safety. Most of the dancers that we've talked about have touched on on this topic. Etiquette really helps the community of dancers maintain a safe space. So for us, a huge one is dancing without a drink, dancing without a bag, because no matter how careful you are, a drink can spill, your bag can get in the way of a turn or hit people or throw you off balance. So just maybe ask a friend, or I've asked plenty of strangers, hey, I'm going to put this here. Do you mind? And they usually say, no, we don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else should we consider?
What else? Yeah, but there's a lot here.
Yeah,
there's
is
a lot.
here.
I use the term situational awareness. It's the next one in our notes. It's such a topic. I'm like, okay, this is its own sub episode in a way.
It certainly can be. I'm here with my friend Phil at French Quarter Fest.
Howdy.
Hi.
In my opinion, I would say floorcraft. Just knowing that if it's a very crowded dance floor, make yourself smaller. That way you don't unintentionally run into people. Another thing is keeping your moves and turns tighter, smaller. Again, you don't want to have a flying elbow into your face or into your nose. I just think that allows a better dance experience. If you got an open dance floor, go do whatever you want. But when it's tight and crowded, you got to make yourself small. And that way nobody gets hurt.
Any rules of etiquette maybe between you and a dance partner?
It's awesome when a partner sees my blind spot, and especially in two-step when I'm going backwards and she sees what's in front of her and immediately puts the brakes on. That feels a great experience, whether it's a little bit jerky, but it keeps me safe and keeps herself safe, and vice versa. Same thing when she's going backwards and I'm going forwards, and I got to keep my eyes on the road.
Considering each other's own safety.
Correct.
Hey, Stella.
Hi. So I heard a dance instructor describe the proper way to take a step, and I think it's a really good way to think about it. He said, when you take a step, you want to be over yourself, like physically over yourself, the way you would be when you walk. I think that's a really good etiquette point, so you're not jumping backwards and causing bruised ankles. Most of this falls on the lead because it's their job to keep the follow and everyone else around them on the floor safe.
Love it. Thanks, Stella. A lot of the weight of situational awareness does tend to fall on the leads because they're the ones setting the direction of the movement, especially in two-step and progressive dances. But everybody needs to be aware of their own body. This is something that has to get trained. I mean, honest to God, like, we don't all develop this unless you put an intention on knowing how far out your limbs swing, what's behind you, what's to the sides of you. You do have to train it a little bit, and it takes some effort. So, making sure you don't step backwards into someone, or sideways, or fling out an arm and poke someone in the eye.
Yeah.
This is like maybe the biggest rule in a way.
We have all been stomped on, and it is an immediate mood killer.
Yeah, it's not fun. I have some bruises that I am sporting at the moment from a dance 2 weeks ago. And so, when you're moving backwards leads, make sure you're not stepping back into somebody. Like Phil said, look where you're stepping, you're leading your follow.
Yeah.
If the floor gets packed, smaller steps, simpler moves, like just keep things a little bit tighter.
Yep. Keep your elbows in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your feet under your body. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Stella said, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's really important.
I think too, like, a part of situational awareness is your own level of sobriety. It's we do this a lot in bars, and by no means should you not have a drink. Enjoy your drink, but keep your senses about you. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not, if you are intending to dance, then you need to maintain your sense of awareness. And if you are imbibing too much, then that's going to impact your senses and ultimately impact your safety on the dance floor.
And the safety of others.
And the safety of others, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. I have some little kind of more granular bits of
Get into it.
Helpful
Microscope time.
hints. Yeah, but these are ones I just love to have everybody know, just like kind of keep them in your back pocket. And that is like when you're out there dancing, keep one foot on the floor at all times. So I mean this specifically because you're like, well, I can't fly, but no big jumps. And then we're going to get into dips a little bit further down,
Later,
but
yep.
like dips are really common in two-step at the end of songs, which isn't true in every social dance. So when you're dipping, there are other people on the dance floor. You keep your feet on the floor. You definitely don't want to kick anybody else, particularly in the head. And then, you know, as you're dancing, this is a more detail on the keeping your feet beneath you, but not kicking your feet up high or kicking up your heels behind you. And then, of course, like we talked about, smaller steps, the more crowded the floor is.
You had said earlier that sort of the spatial awareness is sort of on the lead, but honestly, I have danced with many a follow that like to flare their arms out or like stick their hip or their bum out like behind them. But for safety and also just for the general connectedness to your partner, your arms and your hips should all be connected to your center and to your core. I think that's just gonna make you a better dancer, honestly. Like having everything connected to your core is gonna keep you safe, and it's gonna keep you connected to your partner and to yourself.
Yeah, good technique.
You wrote down that leads should never grab with thumbs. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, this is a safety thing because this may sound like a more of a dance lesson type pointer, but if the lead grabs the follow's hand with their thumbs and their forefingers, usually the connection, we're just keeping with the palms or with the forefingers, and the thumbs are free.
Yeah.
So that as the follow turns, the hands are just pivoting around each other. If it's going to take a little imagination here, but think about like if you're grabbing onto someone's hand as you turn them, you're going to twist their arm. And I have definitely experienced leads that grab with their thumbs and it can wrench your shoulder. So leads, just keep the thumbs. They can just lightly rest on the hand, but keep them loose. Don't connect with them. And then another directional kind of dance technique pointer here is wait for your follow leads to finish their turn and then lower your arm.
Yep.
Don't lower the arm too soon because, again, this will create a wrenching on the follow's shoulder.
Yep. I've experienced that a lot as a follow. In general, you're always responding to your partner's body language and energy level.
Yeah.
And I think I put that here because there are times where, like, I'm not in the mood to do a bunch of turns, or I feel like the dance space, maybe the floor is really sticky or the floor is really rough, and so turns like can be difficult and hard on the body. And I oftentimes am like, okay, lead, like, do you get the sense that I'm not really wanting to do many turns right now? Like, and sometimes you just got to say it. Like, hey, turns are really hard on this surface.
Yeah.
Like, keep it simple.
Yeah, definitely. And I liked also that you included energy level on this. I think that dance trains so much emotional intelligence, so much intuition. It refines your ability to connect and tune in with another person. And this is a way that you can always continue to grow and develop, is tuning in to the person you're dancing with and what they're bringing to the dance and meeting them there. And if you're both doing this, you're going to find a really nice spot to be in. If you don't tune into what your partner is doing, maybe you're doing something really big and energetic, but they're feeling something a little quieter, and then it doesn't feel like a very good connected dance. So it makes it more fun. And I also think you have an opportunity to build a very deep, intuitive type of empathy. That is one of my favorite parts of dancing, honestly.
Yeah. As our friend Chris said, if everybody just kind of took a pause before you started dancing and you actually listen to the music and get a sense for what you want to dance like with your partner and have that sort of mutual agreement, everybody's going to have a better time.
Yeah. Finding that energy level the moment before you start to move. That's really, that was a really nice insight.
It was.
Yeah.
We also talked about when you're following and you are doing a turn, the follows should keep their elbows down, kind of like at a right angle.
Like if you can picture like riding on a bus or a train, like strap hanging.
What a great image.
Like that's kind of the position.
When it's at a right angle, it's much closer to your own body, so you're not going to bop your lead with your elbow in the face. I've done that once or twice.
Yeah, it's no good. I've knocked a pair of glasses off one time. It was pretty embarrassing. I think it was a team effort in bad form. But so it keeps you from elbowing your partner, and it also protects your shoulder. So if your arm goes behind you, you can pull a shoulder. But if you keep this like right angle in front of you, it's for your own protection too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit too about personal space. Personal space is also a part of safety. The leads can kind of dictate the personal space in terms of like open position. You and your partner are farther apart, hence why it's called open position. When you're in open position or a closed position, follows can establish a personal space zone. Although I am a little curious, if you were brought into closed position, how can a follow sort of still maintain their own personal space?
It has to be that the lead agrees. And if the lead does not agree and forcefully pulls your body to them, this is bridging on antisocial and aggressive behavior.
Yeah. It's time to say, nope.
You may have to
done.
Verbalize,
Yep.
I need a little bit more space, or I'm going to sit this one out. If again, there's like just, there's a difference between sort of unintentional lack of awareness from a dance partner. And again, these are the things we develop as we dance with different people on the floor and build our intuition. But I think don't ever let yourself be forced into a physically uncomfortable, too close position. Hold your own space. Leads 99.9% of the time give you the space that you create for yourself, and if they don't, you can step away.
Yeah.
Yep,
Totally
absolutely.
fine.
And it may be that the lead just needs to learn how to do that, so give them the opportunity and speak up for yourself.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. Dips. What are dips?
What are dips? That was a curveball. What are dips, Diane? I want to throw that one back at you. What are dips?
What are dips? So dips are often found usually at the end of a dance, and it's when the lead is changing the level of the follow, and usually from high to low.
Usually a back bend or a side. They may or may not take the weight, but it's like a big finish pose, kind of.
Yeah.
They can happen mid-song, too. There's some very awesome mid-song dipping that sometimes happens. But I got trained in a bunch of different types of dips when I did like ballroom kind of stuff. And there are these dips that look very elaborate, but the lead could walk away, take their hands off the follow, and you see it's all an illusion. The follow has their weight their entire time. It looks like they're doing this big back bend, but they are giving none of their weight to the lead. So, and there's like a snapshot moment. You kind of stop moving for a second. It's like that's why it's typically at the end, right? Because it's like it's a picture moment, sort of.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good way of putting it as well. It's a little bit flashy, and you're watching dance videos. They're going to put some kind of dip into the video to say, look how good we are.
Yeah. Yeah. They look very cool. And in two-step, in my experience in two-step, people do some kind of dip, many of them, at the end of every single dance, which is not necessarily the case. In fact, it's very rare in other social styles to do a dip. So it's good to talk about them since we're honky-tonk focused here.
Yes.
Yeah. So throw me some do's and don'ts, Diana. What's a do?
Yes. I think as a lead, asking your follow, do you like to dip, or have you done dips before? Is that a part of your vocabulary? I think is really important. I always appreciate it. There have been a few moments where, as a follow, I have noticed a lead doing a lot of dips on the dance floor, and I have said to them, I don't want to do dips, or I will do a dip at the end of a dance. So I've kind of set that boundary for myself. You definitely should not force anyone into a dip or force them off of their center.
Yes.
Especially a newer dancer. It's probably pretty common among more experienced dancers that they would not dip someone that they've never danced with before.
Yes. Yes.
That's pretty safe to assume.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. If you have danced with someone before many times, then by all means,
Right.
green
You know
light.
your bounds.
You know, exactly. You also wrote, for safety, this is why it's a safety issue. Dips can sometimes, at a competition level, or if it's like a really empty dance floor, dips can let the follow lift their feet off of the floor.
Yeah.
But if you're in a crowded space, that's a one-way ticket to get a foot in the face.
Yeah, just don't do it. I mean,
do it.
Yeah, if you do, know each other and know what the partner is capable of doing, and you want to do something a little flashy, do something a little flashy, but just that situational awareness needs to be extra tuned in.
Yeah.
You need to be in control of yourself. You need to be comfortable, and you need to really know your partner's capacity.
And not just the lead. I think that also applies to the follow as well.
That's a universal you.
Yeah. One of my little pet peeves, I don't know, can I get into a pet
Please.
peeve for a second?
Get in there.
Because I moved away from Chicago and now live in the DC area, sometimes when I visit back home in Chicago, people tell me, "Oh, I missed you," or "You owe me a dance," or it's something like that. It's a pet peeve of mine. I think because, like, if it's a close friend that's saying I missed you, then that has a little more meaning behind it. But if it's someone that I've only known on the dance floor and they say that, it feels a little ingenuine to me. And I think that I miss you is such a loaded response sometimes. Or maybe it's also like, oh, I haven't seen you, where have you been, or whatever. There's many reasons why people are off the dance floor. Maybe something has been going on in their life that they don't want to talk about. They're at dance because they want to get away from whatever is happening. You don't owe an explanation, especially if something's been going on in your life. You don't owe that explanation to anybody. So I feel as though if you haven't seen someone in a long time and you're excited to see them again, a more genuine or genial way of expressing that you're happy that they're there is to say that, like, I'm so happy that you're here. I would love to dance with you. And go on from there.
That's really nice. This gets into this, like, training of social graces bit of dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
We have these expressions that we say all the time, and they can be interpreted, even though there's no intention of, negativity. It can be perceived that way sometimes.
Yeah.
Let's finish off our conversation talking about comfort.
Comfort,
on the
physical
dance floor.
physical comfort. We
Physical
talked about
comfort.
emotional comfort.
Yep.
Now let's talk about physical comfort.
Okay.
What and the most important piece of equipment to the dancer
Is their shoes.
Their shoes,
Your
footwear.
Oh my God. If I see a crowded dance floor and somebody is barefoot, I want to just like
Airlift them out.
airlift them out, pluck them out of the situation, and yeah, you got to wear shoes.
You got to wear shoes. You want to have the right shoes for
Yes.
dancing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I prefer shoes that are closed-toed and have a smooth sole. If I'm dancing two-step, I often wear a boot, but you certainly don't have to. Lots of two-steppers wear sneakers or other kind of dance shoes. The fancier dance shoes have leather soles that's going to really let you kind of slide across the floor, but anything that has something smooth is going to be good for you. And they should be comfortable.
Yeah.
We have a short life. Why waste it on uncomfy shoes?
Yeah, that's my motto.
But shoes are also going to help you with safety for your knees, especially with turning. If you've got grip on your shoe, it's going to tweak your knee if your foot stays in one position but your upper body is moving in another.
Yeah, corkscrewing your leg. Yeah, definitely. So in dances like two-step where there's a lot of spins, I think especially for follows, but leads too, because leads will spin too on the ball of their foot. The most slide you get is with a leather-soled shoe. It doesn't have to be a proper dance shoe. I mean, a lot of dress shoes have leather soles. Loafers are really popular out there in the swing community because they tend to have leather soles. But yeah, like you say, cowboy boots are, of course, shoe of choice for many dancers. I do not like to dance in cowboy boots at all. I wear other leather-soled shoes. You can dance in sneakers, but again, rubber soles are more grippy. Yeah. It is possible to buy on the internet suede that you can stick on the sole of your shoe. So actually, if there's a pair of shoes you find really comfortable, you can buy these stick-on suede soles online, suede the bottom of your shoes. It's nice to have relatively clean shoes. It depends on your venue. Like, do they have a floor that's cared for? Is it just like a grimy bar floor? Maybe you just wear whatever street shoes you're comfortable dancing in. But if it's a nice dance floor, maybe you bring dance shoes or shoes you use to dance in that you keep a little cleaner so that you're not griming up the floor as well. Or your shoes by wearing them outside. Especially if you've sueded your soles, then these are shoes you bring with you and you would probably change into at the dance venue.
You don't wear a suede sole out and about on the street. That's if you're investing on shoes for dance, then you're pretty much just going to wear them on a dance floor. Yeah. We talked a little bit about this. Every dance floor is a little bit different, and some are beautifully old wooden dance floors are the best to dance on. They're easy on the knees. However, especially in bars, that is not the situation. I've danced on a lot of concrete and cement floors, but each surface is going to be a little bit different in how you respond with your dances. If it's a wooden dance floor and you got good shoes on, you can do all the spins and slides you want. If it's a concrete dance floor, then you're just not going to be able to do that. Or we've been doing a lot of dancing outside.
It has set constraints. It has definitely set constraints this weekend, especially the dance floor that was peeling up in the midday heat in New Orleans, and glue started to coat the floor. That was
the tile
situation.
The tiles start sticking to your feet.
That was
funny.
A next level challenge.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. I do have a small side note. This isn't a huge issue. It's just an etiquette thing that I wish more people knew, which is when you're breathing, don't breathe. Your faces are really close, so you don't want to be breathing into your partner's mouth because nobody wants to smell anyone else's breath.
Correct. Ding, ding, ding. That's a great one.
Being mindful of where you point your face.
Aside from shoes as well, clothing can also be a big part of your comfort in dance. I generally like to wear a little bit looser of clothes because it just helps with air circulation. But even sometimes loose shirts, can get caught in a lead's hand or something like that. But your clothes should definitely allow you to move freely.
Yeah.
Your pants as well. Like, you don't want to split your pants because, I don't know, you're dropping it or whatever. And I have noticed a lot of times as well, it can be helpful bringing an extra shirt, especially if it's hot and you're a sweaty person and you soak through your first shirt. It's kind of handy to have a second one available. I don't know. I personally don't really like being in close contact with someone that is super sweaty, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my preference.
That's fine.
And that's fine.
That's fine. But hey, we're all out there sweating it up.
We're all,
so
exactly.
Extra shirts certainly can be very helpful.
It's put it in your dance bag.
Yeah. And then this last one, this is sort of general hygiene. I'm really glad you noted that, like, don't wear a lot of fragrance because some people can be really sensitive to fragrance. So, obviously, like, showing up clean and fresh is good, even if you're going to get sweaty over time.
Yeah.
But yeah, using like a lot of like cologne or something like that could have a bad reaction for somebody else in close proximity if they're sensitive to that.
In the contra dance community, there's even organizations that say they are a fragrance-free dance space.
There you go.
I don't know how they maintain that, but they
Sniff
really
checks at the door.
Right, yeah. Yes, I believe a contra dancer said to wash with soap, but don't bathe in fragrance. So that's a good rule of thumb. And
In life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And in life. And the other bit about hygiene, as dancers, you're often in very close contact with people, and they can smell your breath. So have a mint handy.
And as Stella said, don't breathe into your partner's mouth.
Such wise words.
Thanks for coming on, Penny.
Hi. So I was thinking about it, and I think it has a lot to do with basic etiquette in general of not, I'm not a dancer in general. So I find that the only issue I have is when people ignore my boundaries. When I tell them I don't want to dance or I don't know how to dance, and they're like, no, you can do this. And I'm like, but I don't want to. And that's not really accepted by certain people as like an okay answer. And they're like, but you can do this, you can do this. And I'm like, but I don't want to. And, that no should be enough.
Absolutely.
And,
Yeah.
Just respecting people's boundaries in general. So.
Yeah. So that's like the most fundamental rule, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like, I have danced in the past. I just don't care to. And I'll middle school dance with you, and I always say that, and I will probably middle school dance with you later today, Sharon.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. But I don't want to learn a two-step. I don't want to focus on my feet. I don't care to. And that is my choice.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for sharing and coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And I'll see you on the dance floor later. We'll get that
Awesome.
middle school dance. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's take it out.
Let's take it out. Thanks for listening. And remember, it wasn't God who made honky tonk angels, but they do find heaven on the dance floor.